These audio recordings were never supposed to see the light of day. 2:47 a.m. Voices from inside a police precinct. Operation complete. Identity packages ready, says the voice. But which operation? What identities? And most importantly, for whom? Hello, I'm Alex Sterling. Tonight, the information I'm about to share will illuminate one of the darkest corners of America's justice system. Put down your phone because for the next 30 minutes, your perception of reality will be shattered. Date: March 15th, 2024. Time: 2:47 a.m. Location: Chicago Police Department, 3rd floor, Identity Services Division. Security cameras were down that night for routine maintenance. Coincidence? Of course not. But they didn't account for one thing. Janitor Robert Martinez had a small recording device in his bag given to him by his son. "Dad, what really happens there at night? Tell us," his son had asked. Robert, out of curiosity, had placed that small device in his bag. The sounds he recorded that night would expose America's largest identity-swapping operation. Audio recording plays. Operation complete. Identity packages ready. How many this time? 50. All Category A clients. Price: $200,000 per person. 10 million clean. Category A clients. Does this term mean anything to you? Because it means everything to me. Category A, the highest risk individuals. Wanted by the FBI, with heavy federal cases pending, or people who need to completely disappear. Have you ever wondered about police department identity services divisions? These are places where citizens' most private information is stored. Social security numbers, parent information, fingerprints, photos, everything that makes up an American's identity. Now imagine, what happens when someone with access to this information decides to abuse the system? Audio recording continues. Is today's list ready? Absolutely. Michael Johnson is now David Williams. Sarah Chen is now Lisa Rodriguez, all with new addresses, new backgrounds. Who's preparing the fake documents? From inside the system. These are official documents, not fake. They're registered in the federal system, all appear legal. Did you hear that? Not fake, from inside the system. This operation isn't an external attack. This is America's justice system rotting from within. When Robert Martinez listened to these recordings the next morning, describing what he felt, he says, "At first I thought it was a dream. Then I got scared. Then I got angry. People paid with my tax dollars were protecting criminals. Who's responsible for these recordings? Who's running this operation?" Our audio analysis shows at least 3 different people talking. First voice, middle-aged, Chicago accent, authoritative tone, probably the operations leader. Second voice, young, tech-savvy, talks about system details. Third voice, female, careful about accounting and money matters. New audio recording. How many identities did we change this month total? 347.23% increase from last month. Customer satisfaction? No complaints. Everyone's happy in their new lives. 347 people. In 1 month, 347 people became completely different Americans. That's an average of 11 to 12 people per day. Think about it. Maybe someone you met today in New York is actually someone completely different. $10 million. Just for one operation, $10 million. If we assume 12 operations per year, this network makes at least $120 million annually. So where does this money go? Audio recording, money discussion. This month's revenue? Net $47 million. After expenses. Partners' shares? Same as always. 40% operations, 30% protection, 30% upper level. Upper level. This term says a lot. So this operation isn't limited to a few bad cops in Chicago. It goes higher, all the way to Washington. Let me tell you a story. Michael Rodriguez was on trial for killing his wife in 2019. During the trial, his identity was changed. He became David Thompson. With his new identity, he moved to Los Angeles, married a new woman. Last month, that woman was also murdered. The killer? Of course, David Thompson. But LAPD doesn't know Michael Rodriguez's past, because in federal records, Michael Rodriguez never existed. I'm worried about this woman. Why? His past is very bad, but customer satisfaction is important. What he does with his new identity doesn't concern us. Doesn't concern us. This is where the crime begins. This operation is made possible by America's advanced technology. Federal identity systems are digital, fingerprint records are electronic in FBI databases, photos are computer-based, and the security vulnerabilities of these systems are being expertly exploited by this network. Technical detail audio recording. New DHS security update came in. Will it cause problems? No, our backdoor is protected. Federal system doesn't see us. DHS, Department of Homeland Security. So these people have created a hidden entry point into America's highest level security systems. The most painful truth. Chicago Police Department is at the center of this operation. People whose job is to protect the public are protecting the most dangerous federal criminals. Security recording. Is the new guy reliable? 15-year veteran, clean record, but he has student loan debts. Perfect. Someone with debt can always be controlled. Detective James Wilson's story is exactly like this. He was in debt for his daughter's college expenses. This network's offer came, just sign a few files, your daughter's Harvard expenses will be covered. Clues in the recording show there are international connections. International conversation. European client? Yes, wants a clean start in Germany. Price? 500,000 euros. International operations are difficult. This network isn't just hiding criminals within America, they're also sending them across the Atlantic. When Robert Martinez's audio recordings reached the FB1, a midnight operation began. First target, Detective James Wilson. Encrypted WhatsApp messages found on his iPhone exposed the entire operation. Wilson's confession. At first I thought it was just a few files. Then I saw I was just a small cog. This machine is very big, reaches all the way to Washington. Based on Wilson's confessions, simultaneous operations began across America. FBI raids were conducted simultaneously in 50 states. Operation results: 157 police officers arrested 43 civilians, detained $12 million cash, seized 15,000 fake identity documents found. The stories of innocent people whose identities were stolen are the most painful part of this operation. Retired teacher Robert Johnson was shocked when he learned about 15 credit cards opened in his name. I taught in North Carolina for 40 years, never took out a loan. Now I apparently owe millions of dollars. I don't know what someone did on Wall Street in my name. After the scandal, the federal identity system was completely restructured. New measures by FBI and DHS cooperation. Multi-factor authentication. Minimum 3 different approvals for each transaction. Biometric requirements. Fingerprint plus retina scanning. Cross-agency verification. FBI-DHS-IRS verification. 24/7 monitoring. Continuous AI-supported system control. The trials that began at Manhattan Federal Courthouse became one of the most complex cases in American judicial history. 157 defendants, over 1,200 federal crimes, 15 different states. The main culprit, Captain Marcus Blake, was the brain of the operation. Blake's confessions with his 20-year NYPD background were shocking. Blake's confession. A client came from Wall Street. I just wanted to help one person. Then this business spread to Silicon Valley, Las Vegas. It became impossible to stop. As the investigation deepened, Capitol Hill connections emerged. Democratic California Senator Patricia Moore's close relative David Moore had been given a new identity and smuggled to Switzerland. Sentences given in federal court. Main culprit, Captain Marcus Blake, life without parole. Detective James Wilson, 25 years federal prison. Senator Patricia Moore, expelled from Senate, 15 years prison. 134 out of 157 total defendants received federal prison sentences. 2 years after the operation was brought down, America's identity system completely changed. Now changing identity is almost impossible. But the price was heavy. Innocent citizens also face more security controls like TSA checks. Robert Martinez continues working as a janitor in Chicago. I don't even want to think about what would have happened if I hadn't put that recording device in my bag, he says. The FBI's special unit worked for 18 months to reveal the full dimensions of the operation. The team led by Agent Jennifer Walsh reached shocking findings. Agent Walsh's report. This wasn't just a few corrupt cops in Chicago. It was a national network stretching from New York to Los Angeles, Miami to Seattle. The findings were horrifying. Active operations in 12 different states. Protection network from federal senators to local sheriffs. 2.3 billion total transaction volume. Criminals smuggled to 47 countries. As the investigation deepened, surprising connections emerged from New York's financial world. Thomas Sterling, a former Goldman Sachs executive, was managing the money laundering arm of the operation. Sterling's confession. I've seen all kinds of dirty business on Wall Street, but this was different. This was stealing people's lives. Sterling was transferring money to the Cayman Islands, Switzerland, and Dubai through offshore accounts. Federal judges declared it one of the largest operations in financial crime history. In the technology arm, shocking information came from San Francisco. Former Google engineer Kevin Park had developed software that provided access to federal identity databases. Park's defense. I thought I was just doing technical consulting. Then I realized I was creating the brain of an operation to change criminals' identities. Parks developed AI algorithms, made fake identities indistinguishable from real ones. The FBI determined this technology was also being used abroad. The most shocking development was the national security dimension of the operation. Retired General Patricia Davis from Pentagon confessed that military personnel identities were also stolen. General Davis's confession. Some clients wanted not just civilian identity, but military background. Identities with Navy SEAL, Delta Force backgrounds. This is a huge threat to national security. The FBI determined that 23 different military identities were stolen, and people living with these identities were working as mercenaries abroad. In the Los Angeles arm, surprise names emerged from Hollywood. Famous film producer Richard Goldman was using a second identity to evade taxes. Goldman's file. Real identity, Richard Goldman. Film producer. Fake identity, Michael Johnson, construction worker. Purpose, $15 million tax evasion location, Bahamas. Besides Goldman, it was revealed that 3 famous actors, 2 musicians, and 1 TV host also benefited from the operation. The special commission established on Capitol Hill demanded radical reforms in federal identity systems. Chairman of House Judiciary Committee, congressional statement. This scandal showed that our federal systems are rotten. Radical reforms are essential for our citizens' security. Decisions made by Congress, Federal Identity Protection Act, FIPA law, mandatory biometric in all identity transactions, real-time data sharing between states, FBI DHS Joint Identity Security Unit cooperation with Interpol and Europol revealed the global dimensions of the operation. David Martinez, caught in London, was actually a murderer wanted from Denver. Interpol report. This operation is proof of the evolution of international organized crime. Borders no longer exist for these criminals. A total of 127 people were arrested in England, Germany, France, and Italy. All were criminals with fake identities smuggled from America. A special support program was launched for innocents whose identities were stolen. Maria Rodriguez from Miami was one of the first people whose identity was stolen. Maria's story. The woman who stole my identity made 3 marriages in my name, had 2 children. While I was living in Florida, she was living my life in Texas. The federal government paid a total of $2.1 billion in compensation to victims. But psychological traumas couldn't be treated with money. After the operation, America led the world in identity technology. Scientists from MIT and Stanford developed an identity system based on quantum encryption. Dr. Chen's statement. Our new system uses quantum physics. Stealing identity is now like trying to steal the laws of physics. The system combining blockchain, artificial intelligence, and quantum computing was modeled by countries worldwide. 2 years later, Robert Martinez was awarded the Presidential Medal of Freedom. At the White House ceremony, the President's speech, Robert Martinez single-handedly exposed America's greatest domestic security threat. He is a hero. Robert remained modest. I'm just a curious father. Justice prevailed in America, that's enough. This story shows how a small curiosity can expose great truths. A midnight operation that began in Chicago launched America's greatest identity security reform. Robert Martinez's small recording device didn't just change one operation, it changed the entire federal system. Because real power comes from being in the right place at the right time. Tonight, from New York streets to Los Angeles boulevards, every American sleeps more safely, because now stealing identity is almost impossible. Is this operation over? This operation, yes. But America has changed. The system is stronger now. America has changed. And for a safer America, keep following us. Because real stories are more gripping than Hollywood movies.